Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ray Flowers breaks it all down for you from a fantasy sports perspective. Hey there, everyone. Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. Hope you're doing well today, wherever this video finds you. Hopefully it finds, let me make an adjustment there. Hopefully it finds you well. Hopefully it finds you happy. Hopefully it finds you content. And if not, well, let's just have some fun over the next hour anyway. I'm Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. Thanks for joining me today, as you do most days, hopefully, here on Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. The Monday through Friday show at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We go about an hour each day. Mondays, I ride solo. Tuesday through Friday, we have the folks, the experts from FantasyGuru.com, all join about halfway through the show. On Mondays, all baseball talk. The rest of the week, baseball and football. We kind of split things up. A programming note, and I'll continue to mention this throughout the week, is that I'm actually taking my first vacation since before COVID. First real vacation, so in 6 years here. So what that means for this show is the following. I don't believe there'll be a show this Friday. So we'll go Monday through Thursday this week. I don't believe there'll be a show this Friday. Let me make a note about that, by the way, just so I can make sure everything's good on my end. And next week, what we'll have is we'll have Justin Fensterman hosting the show all week. So next, we'll go Monday through Thursday this week, no show Friday. Next week, Monday through Friday, Justin Fensterman will be hosting the show. If there's any kind of hiccups, if any problems arise because I'm gone, don't worry. We'll be back here on, August 3rd? Let me verify that. It would be August 4th. On August 4th, we would return here on the show, and I'll be back on that Monday. Another programming note. We update the rankings the first of every month over at FantasyGuru.com for fantasy baseball. The rankings will be updated on August 4th because obviously I won't be here. I'll be on vacation. So we'll hit it a couple of days late here with the August 4th update at FantasyGuru.com. By the way, if you don't know who I am Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. I normally host the show 4 days a week here. On that fifth day, when I'm not here on Wednesdays, I'm with Jeff Manns on the Elite Sports Show on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. That show is 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. I'm with Jeff on Wednesdays. You can follow me on Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, all those spots at the Ray Flowers. So whether you're football or baseball centric, we got you covered over at FantasyGuru.com. Sign up, head over to the Discord rooms, ask your questions, read all the articles, all that kind of good stuff. Remember, if you click that subscribe tab in the top right corner of the page at FG, you can sign up for the baseball coverage. It's one package. All the seasonal, all the DFS, all the wagering. It's one single package. So you get all the baseball that we do for one low price. So hit us up over at FantasyGuru.com. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner. You can also send a note to support at FantasyGuru.com. You can also send a note to support at FantasyGuru.com if you want to do something different in football. You can click that same subscribe tab in the top right corner for football. You can sign up for the seasonal football package, the DFS football package, the wagering football package. You can get all three of them. You can get two of the three. Remember, if you sign up for the seasonal package, which is literally being updated on a daily basis, that covers you throughout the season. So it's not just a preseason product, it's all season long. I will, by the way, my articles for the auction format will be released this Friday. So Friday, look for my two articles. I think Justin Fensterman's going to have his two articles. So all four articles for the auction guide within the draft guide should be available starting on Friday if everything goes according to plan. My article's already turned in. But yeah, you can also sign up for the all-in VIP package. And if you do that at FantasyGuru.com, you get every article, every video, every live stream, every ranking report, every Discord room. You get all of it for one low price. And if you send a note to support at FantasyGuru.com, you might even be able to get a discount. So if you want to go all-in VIP Platinum, send a note to support at FantasyGuru.com. Okay, so what are we doing on the show today? Well, there you go. Oh, by the way, we have a deal with drafters.com. That's right. I think the deal is still good. If it's not good, send a note to support at fantasyguru.com. We might still be able to get you a little bit of a discount on the product over there. There is a best ball fantasy football contest at drafters.com. Looks like there's going to be a significant amount of overlay, increasing your odds of success there. If you go to drafters.com/refer/elite, I'll throw the banner up on the screen right now. Drafters.com/refer/elite. You can sign up there for a 100% deposit match up to $500 if you've never signed up with Drafters before. If you have previously signed up with Drafters through us or just on your own, you can use the following code for a reload bonus of 20%. That's Elite Reload. So one word, Elite Reload. If you've already signed up at drafters.com, one word, Elite Reload. If you've never signed up at drafters.com and you want to get involved, chance to win all kinds of money there with that significant overlay, drafters.com/refer/elite. You can also then go to the draft guide, the fantasy football product over at fantasyguru.com. And Tyler Beaker, who you hear every Thursday here on the show, Tyler crushes it in all things best ball, including this drafters contest where he specifically has articles and rankings for this specific contest to help you have success there. So check that out over at fantasyguru.com. The rest of the show today, we'll be talking some baseball. And as you can see, there are a bunch of pitchers. Some good news on the hitting side of things. Francisco Alvarez is back. What is going on with Isaac Paredes? I see the question here. Rubby17 says it didn't look good. He might be done for the year. I think that's aggressive at this point. We'll wait and see. Rubby, I haven't seen an update this morning. Hopefully we'll get something here in short order. But obviously, Paredes has been sent to the injured list with that hamstring injury. We'll talk a little bit more about that situation here in a few minutes. In about 20, 25 minutes, something like that, we'll talk over the FAAB runs. Who was added this weekend? Who are they? Are they of interest to you? We'll find out here. We'll review the LABR, FSGA, and Tout Wars teams that I am a part of. Let me make my face a little bit bigger because who doesn't want that? By the way, you can leave comments and questions as you've already seen, and we'll do it again right here with John G's question. There are the ability to watch the show live or on demand, but if you're watching live at youtube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork, facebook.com/FantasyGuruHQ, or on Twitter X at Fantasy Guru site. Any of those three places, if you're watching live, you can leave comments and questions that we'll address during the show. And you can always watch on demand, of course. You can also just go to fantasyguru.com, and at the top of the page, there's an Elite Plus tab. Just click on that. You can find the podcast of the show here. And speaking of podcasts, you can just type in Fantasy Sports Daily to wherever you consume your podcast. You can probably find us there here. Like John G says, will Noelvi Marte take that step in the second half? Well, I don't know what we're expecting, John. You know, a guy in his basically first full season at the big league level. I mean, he's got an 829 OPS. You know, I mean, he's played 31 games. He's on a 30 home run, 20 steal pace. Like, he doesn't need to take a step, John. He just needs to stay healthy. The good news for Noelvi Marte is that he's played one game in the outfield and it looks like he's going to see some more time in the outfield. Why is that good news? Obviously, dual position eligibility. He's already played 30 games at third base, so he'll have third base next year in every league. But it sounds like they might give him a shot at third in the outfield long term. We'll see how this plays out, but dual position eligibility incoming for Noelvi Marte. And all again, I think he just needs to stay healthy. You look at his performance through 130 big league games. He's gone 13-20 while hitting 250. He's been substantially better than that this season. I would not be surprised if he was more the guy we saw in the first half than his overall numbers. But the bottom line is power, speed is his game. He is a significant threat to be a strong dual position, multi-category producer in the second half. John also says, Ray, thanks for the pitchers articles. I lost Reagans and Lopez in my 14-team keeper league. Yeah, 2 significant losses. Both those guys working their way back here. So many guys hurt. And what John's referring to is I did a series of articles last week. You can still read them, obviously, and use them now. A series of 4 articles, guys to basically target and avoid. So you can go read those articles, kind of a mid-season checkup there at the seasonal fantasy space. But yeah, the injuries to the pitchers, we're not going to stop. We'll talk more about that here right now, just in moments. It's just how it is. And if you missed the show, John, or anybody else on Friday, I can't tell you that velocity is the reason guys get hurt, but check out the Friday show, episode 476. We threw up a graph from Codify and talked about the massive increase in upper end velocity and what that might mean. All right, let's dive into it here. Let's talk a little bit about Edward Cabrera, who was one of these pitchers who did hurt his arm. Good news. The elbow tests were run. Everything seems fine, and he's actually slated to start tomorrow against the Padres. Now, he left his last game with elbow discomfort. I don't think that it would make any sense for them to rush him back out there unless they were fully confident he's okay. Whew. Why does this matter? Because Edward Cabrera has been really good. And it's, you know, we've talked so many times about Edward Cabrera, including on this show and articles, others in the fantasy space, others in the baseball space, and said, if this guy could just figure it out. Well, has the 27-year-old figured it out? I mean, he's got over a strikeout an inning this year, which is fully warranted given his stuff. His last 4 starts, the area is 3.1 and his whip is 0.9. And he's actually been that guy for 2 months almost. He's been terrific. So we'll hold our breath, see how his arm looks. But again, there's no reason at all for the Marlins to let him go out there unless they're fully confident that the elbow is indeed healthy. Great news for fantasy and for Mr. Cabrera as he continues to build on what is looking like his best season to date. Max Fried was supposed to maybe start on the weekend, didn't start, got a blister issue. He's going to start on Wednesday, according to reports here. Max Fried is, it's a blister. It's no big long-term thing, but we know how blisters can be an issue. We know how blisters can pop up here and there. We know how blisters can be super annoying. So hopefully they gave him enough time off to work with this. Fried has been a Cy Young contender. He's been one of the better pitchers in baseball. He's been absolutely dynamic in his first season with the Yankees, giving them every single thing they possibly could have wanted. Same to you in the fantasy space. It doesn't seem like this blister is going to waylay him. So we'll look for him to go out there on Thursday. Hopefully he's able to throw his 5 2/3, 6 1/3 innings kind of thing and doesn't have a reoccurrence of the issue with his blister. More positive news on the pitching front. Well, I think it is. Zach Eflin, he's got a back issue. He's been on the injury list here. He made a minor league rehab start on Saturday, then emerged from that and said, I'm good to go. So the Orioles are one of those teams as we approach the trade deadline here in a couple of weeks. And by the way, I mentioned this last week, and let me update it here this week. I said I always write the trade deadline diary article. It's one of my favorites. All that kind of. It is true. I'm not going to be here for it this year. The way that my schedule worked out and everything with the vacation, I'm not going to be here to write that article. So that's disappointing for me because I enjoy it. But obviously, we'll continue to follow this information. And as I noted, on August 4th, we'll have the update to the rankings. So all of those trades can be factored in and analyzed, and the rankings can be updated for everyone at fantasyguru.com. Zach Eflin said he's ready to go for the rotation spot against the Rockies this coming weekend. Yeah. You look at this rotation with the Orioles, and again, the Orioles, as I was saying, the Orioles are one of the teams where there's a lot of people watching to see what they do. They could blow this thing up. This season has gone absolutely horribly wrong given expectations. They're last place in the AL East. They're double-digit games out of first place. They're not making the playoffs. It would have to take one of the greater second-half runs in baseball history here. Like, they're just dead men walking here. Do they trade guys? Is Ryan O'Hearn on the way out? Is Ramon Laureano going somewhere? Could they convince someone to take Tyler O'Neill or Cedric Mullins? There's even been rumors about maybe Felix Bautista going. Bottom line is, if you look at their pitching staff right now, Kremer, Rogers, Sagano, Brandon Jung, and Charlie Morton. So as soon as Zach Eflin's healthy, he's back in that rotation. Sounds like it's going to be this coming weekend if everything continues to move according to plan for this Orioles team. Kyle Bradish, is pushing to return sometime later in the year. Cade Povich is getting over that hip issue, so he's somebody that could come back. Grayson Rodriguez just had a elbow setback if you missed that. Grayson Rodriguez highly unlikely to pitch this season, and Grayson Rodriguez goes on the don't draft list now. I don't care how talented he is. I don't care what he could be. He's going to be 26 here before the year is over. And, he may not throw a pitch this season. And he didn't have surgery. He didn't blow his elbow up. Didn't blow his shoulder up. He just couldn't get back on the field. So, this is looking, it's been a while since we had the expectations that we did of Grayson Rodriguez. But remember, Grayson Rodriguez was a top 20 overall prospect in baseball. He was a top 5 starting pitching candidate in baseball, 10 if we're going, but probably top 5. He was supposed to be like an SP2 at the big league level with the potential to be an ace, potentially. But a 2 or 3 is who he's going to be. At this point, can he even be a 4 or 5? Can he stay freaking healthy? So anyway, Zach Eflin's back, but yeah, Grayson Rodriguez, woof. Speaking of the Cardinals and their rotation, let's talk for a moment about that. We're at that point of the season already. I mentioned this last week, I think, on the show. Certainly did on social media, again, at the Ray Flowers. We're coming out of the All-Star break. In the first game out of the All-Star break, we had multiple teams using bullpen games. Really? You had the All-Star break, and the first game back, you're throwing a bullpen game? So a lot of teams are going to be changing this. We're going to have to continue to watch this. I know a lot of people like to, pre-plan as you should. Who you're going to start, 2 start weeks, and who you're going to start next week, and should we pick this guy off the waiver wire? We got to keep doing all that, but we also have to understand the volatility because teams are going to be changing things on the fly a lot, I would imagine. Michael McGreevy is going to start today for the Cardinals. That means Matthew Liberatore is going to have his start skipped. He'll basically return to the rotation on the weekend, and we're going to see a lot of this, right, with younger pitchers in particular, guys that don't have innings or approaching innings limits, pitch load limits, that kind of thing. So getting a little extra rest coming out of the break is LABR. McGreevy will be in the rotation now. There is certainly a belief in Cardinal land that McGreevy should be in the rotation and they should really give him a run here in the second half of the season. We'll see if that happens. I think I'm leaning toward that happening more than not. I don't think McGreevy is a potential star in the fantasy space whatsoever, but there's a lot of guys that don't star. Eric Lauer, I was looking at this morning, right? There's a lot of guys that shouldn't star that could still pitch very well over an extended period. So McGreevy is somebody to put on your watch list. He'll make the start against Colorado today, and we'll see how the rotation shakes out for the Cardinals. A couple of bullpen guys before we talk some offense. Carlos Estevez got a save. And, I just wanted to point him out because Estevez clearly was somebody that was drafted as an SP or an RP2. And, you look at what he did with the Angels here, and you said to yourself, well, 31 saves. He had 26 saves last year. Like, maybe we get another 25, 30 saves out of him. The ratio should be pretty good. Okay. He's my second RP. It's been terrific. He's already got 26 saves. He's blown 6 saves. Okay. That's, but he's got 26 saves, which ties the number he had last year and just a handful off the 31 he had the previous season. He's had 25 saves 3 straight years. And if you recall back to the preseason work we did at fantasyguru.com, getting 20 saves 3 years in a row is difficult. Getting 25 save seasons in a row 3 times, very difficult. It's not the way it used to be, but it is the way it is now. So mad props to Estevez, who, has seen his whip tick up a little bit. It's still 115. 19.6% K rate is a career low. The 8.4% walk rate is 3 percentage points above last season. So while it's been great to date for Estevez, there are some concerns here, especially the lack of missing bats. And again, 26 for 32 is not great. Last year he had 5 blown saves. The year before that, 4. But wanted to give him some props because he has been terrific. And we'll see if he can hold on here and have that first 35 season of his career. David Robertson, who took forever to sign. David Robertson is 40 years old. David Robertson signed a $16 million deal with the Phillies. And before you get crazy, 16, it was prorated, so I don't know why they did this, but so he's basically making $6.5 million or something like that the rest of the way. He is 40 years old. He hasn't pitched officially this season. Don't forget the fact that, last year he appeared in 68 games with 99 punch-outs and 72 innings. In 2023, he had 18 saves. In 2022, he had 20 saves. So this is a guy that basically vanished for a few years and then came back hard. He's had seasons of 39, 34, 37, 14, 20, 18 saves. Why do I mention this? Because the Phillies don't really have a closer. And as we'll see when we talk the bidding here on the waiver wire, there were people that were adding Robertson this weekend, hoping that he gets a share of the pie. Jose Alvarado is still on the restricted list. Kierkering and Stram have basically been sharing the 9th inning role for the Phillies. Jordan Romano's floating around there. But David Robertson could be closing for the Phillies in a couple weeks. Now, again, there's a lot of pieces here, and it may not be exactly how it plays out. And Robertson is also 40-plus years old, so there's a lot of things going on here. But for those of you throwing darts, wanting to get a guy that could potentially help you in the saves column, now is the time to act on David Robertson before he gets promoted, before they say, he's going to be our closer, that kind of thing. But we'll see. We'll see with David Robertson. Okay, let's talk a little bit about hitting. We got a couple of situations here to monitor coming out of the All-Star break with batting order stuff. The first one being Mookie Betts. Yesterday was the first time this season that Mookie Betts hit leadoff. Obviously, it's been the spot for Shohei Ohtani. What we're hearing from Dave Roberts is that Mookie Betts, who was held out of the lineup on Saturday to clear his head, Mookie Betts has been very much a shell of himself. Mookie Betts has, been Tyler Fitzgerald this year and not Mookie Betts, right? So the Dodgers are trying to figure out how they can get this guy going again. What they're going to do here is they're going to try him at the leadoff spot. And what Dave Roberts also said is basically we're going to plan right now. It could change, of course. But the plan right now is to have Mookie Betts be the leadoff hitter until Max Muncy returns. And that's in a couple of weeks. So it looks like Mookie Betts is going to get a couple of weeks to try to see here. Mookie Betts, Ohtani, Freeman hurt himself. He seems to be okay. They ran tests. He's all right there. Like the Dodgers were not very good offensively. They haven't been very good offensively this month. Not that this move of Betts to lead off changes the dynamic substantially, because of course it doesn't. But it's not a bad thing for Betts to obviously have Freeman and Ohtani behind him versus the other way around. Mookie Betts is just too good to be like this. Even if he's just, he's got to be better than he's been thus far, right? So Mookie Betts, I think this is a good move for the Dodgers. It makes sense to do it. Would they stick with it long term? They might. And whether he's hitting first or second or third or whatever it might be, he's going to play every day anyway. But he's got to get going here. He's had a very, very slow first half based upon expectations. It's been a disappointing season this far for Mookie Betts. Chandler Simpson, on the other hand, is a player who we've talked about a lot here on this show, who could be a star in the fantasy space, who the Rays, made arguments to demote him for his offense. For his defense, et cetera, et cetera. Well, yesterday was the fourth consecutive game that Simpson has hit leadoff. Right? You look at his last 21 games played, he's batting .347 with 8 steals over 21 games. Here we go. And he's now hitting 300 for the season. He's got 27 steals in 56 games. We've talked about this, and his name has come up a lot in Discord questions over at FG and, even on social media. Chandler Simpson is what he is, and that is a guy that should hit 275 plus. It's a guy that should get on base 340, 50 zone, right? And he's a guy that can steal you 75 bases over the course of a full season. He's not going to hit the ball deep. He's not going to drive in runs. And if he's batting at the bottom part of the order, his run outlook is kind of muted. If he's batting leadoff, as he's done again the last handful of days here, all of a sudden his outlook of 75 runs scored for a season becomes an outlook of 100 runs scored for a season. So it's a significant change for Simpson. I think this is the right move, given the fact that he can get on base. He's not one of these guys that runs a lot that doesn't get on base. He can get on base. So if Simpson is hypothetically on the waiver wire, which would be kind of bananas at this point, rectify that, understanding the limitations and the positives with Chandler Simpson. Jung Lee of the Giants. He was supposed to be their third hitter this season, started out great, then went in the toilet. He's been much better here in July. He actually hit leadoff on Sunday. They were facing a righty, and when they face righties, Mike Yastrzemski, who's pretty good at getting on base, has been hitting a lot in the leadoff spot. They put him down the order at fifth, and Jung Lee was hitting first. So this is another one of those scenarios where Lee's in the lineup every day for the Giants, and to date, he's been overall a disappointing performer. But if you look at his last couple of weeks, hitting 300, got an 800 OPS. On the year, he's been fine, but they're really trying to see if they can get him going, obviously. He could be not a significant threat in the fantasy space, but he could be a very good option down the stretch here. So he is somebody who could be on the waiver wire. He's on waiver wire in one of my leagues. We talked about him last week. I'd be interested, to add Jung Lee. And if he's hitting leadoff, it gets a little bit more interesting there for the Giants. Austin Riley ran the bases yesterday as he tries to come back from the abdomen injury. It sounds possible that the next day, tomorrow, Austin Riley could return from that abdominal issue for the Braves. He's been out since July 12th, so this would be a pretty quick return, but it sounds like everything is moving in that direction. The Braves are another one of these teams that there's a lot of speculation on what are they going to do. They're going to trade Marcell Ozuna. They're going to trade multiple pieces here as they just have not had the season they've obviously wanted there in Atlanta. But Austin Riley, very close to returning. Could happen tomorrow. Great news for you and for the Braves if that happens. Another third baseman, Royce Lewis, hit a couple of home runs on Sunday. Royce Lewis back in our lives. Just wanted to touch on him. Royce Lewis he's lived up to expectations better than Grayson Rodriguez, but that's a low bar, right? Royce Lewis, who just turned 26 last month, has played 44 games this year, and his OPS is 624. And while he started out his career so hot, you have to look at his last 126 games. His OPS is, the stat's not working here. His OPS is what? 680? Like, it's not good. And, beyond all of this, the starts and stops, when he's been on the field, and it's hard to be a consistent performer. It was even worse. It's a little bit better than I thought, 706. So since the start of last season, he's had a 706 OPS, which is below anyone would approve. It's 150 points below where he was the previous 2 years. His 291 on base percentage is terrible, and his slugging percentage of 416 is basically league average. He's just not been the guy that hit 30 home runs over his 140 games played, 150 games played in 2023 and 24. Hopefully this big game on Sunday will get him going here. The X velocity is up. The launch angle's right on where it's supposed to be. The barrel rate's right on where it's supposed to be. The hard hit rate's up just a teeny bit. You can make the argument that he's been a little bit better than the numbers suggest. One other positive with Royce Lewis is his 23% league average K rate the last 2 years is 14% right now. So Royce Lewis very easily could be on the waiver wire in your league. Maybe someone made a move after the 2 home runs yesterday. We can dream on Royce Lewis. If there's no significant cost to add Royce Lewis, go for it, because there is lurking in Royce Lewis a player that could have a massive 3-week run. There's lurking here better numbers than we have seen to date. There's the ever-present injury issue, though, which would obviously be why he's on waivers if he is. Jackson Holliday had a home run. He had a walk, scored a couple runs on Sunday. I want to check back in with Jackson Holliday. We talked a lot about him last year, and he disappointed. We then said this year, well, and he's been okay, right? Let's do a check in here, 91 games in. He's on pace. He's got 13 home runs, 9 steals. So he's on pace to go 18-13, which is pretty good. I mean, that's, for him, actually, that's really good. The rest of his game hitting 258, 307 on base percentage, 416 slugging percentage. The 307 on base percentage is the disappointing part, because while a lot of people, when we talked about him last year, if you remember 15, 16, 18 months ago, Holliday was being looked at by some people as a power hitter for some reason. He's not a power hitter, certainly at the stage of his development. So if he were to hit 18 home runs, that's, again, I'm happy with that. The thing he's not doing that he always has done, though, is get on base. 307 on base percentage. I mean, you look at his numbers in the minors, and again, it's the minors, right? But in 2022, his walk rate was 28%. In 2023, his walk rate was 17%. In 2024, his walk rate was 22%. Minor league walk rates were outstanding, which is why consistently posting 450 on base percentage, and all this stuff. Last year, the mark was 7.2%, disappointing. This year, it's 5.4%, which is terribly disappointing. So, who is he right now? He's kind of just a guy. They continue to bat him leadoff, to their credit, right? They continue to bat him leadoff, but he's not performing up to expectations. He's not even league average at getting on base right now, which, again, should be the thing he can do. I would not be surprised if his performance picked up here in the second half. I think it's fair to say it can tick up a little bit. I think this has been a solid season. You look at his numbers to date, over 151 games, 18 home runs, 13 steals, exactly the pace we were talking about. We could live with that, but that slash line, brutal, 668 OPS. It takes a long, and we forget this a lot. It takes a while to get used to major leagues, even when you're a great prospect and a great talent like Jackson Holliday. Angel Martinez went 3 for 4 with a double home run, a couple runs scored, a couple RBIs on Sunday. The leadoff hitter for the Guardians here of late has been Angel Martinez. Now, that's obviously because Kwan's out with the injury that seems minor, but, it's lingering here a little bit. So in his last 11 games, Angel Martinez has got 4 home runs and 11 RBIs. And if I'm not mistaken, in his last 11 games, he's got like 9 or 10 or even 11 extra base hits. Like, he's been out of control. So, short term, leadoff guy, driving the baseball, playing every day. Angel Martinez, sure. Still just a guy on the course of the season. He's not going to stay in that leadoff spot long term. When Kwan is healthy, he obviously goes back in there. But Angel Martinez, not the worst pickup if you're looking for that short-term boost on the offensive side of things. A couple final notes before we talk FAAB. Jordan Walker, couple of hits yesterday, double RBI. He's back off the injured list. It's not to the point where it's do or die for Jordan Walker, but it kind of is. Like, the Cardinals really need to play him every day or trade him. I mean, they got to find out what they got here. This kid's still young. He's still extremely talented. The injuries haven't helped this year, but the up and down, big league, minor league, all this, they got to just let him play. So we'll see if they do that. If they do let him play, is he going to be part of a platoon anyway? Things are kind of tight right now. Maybe they make a trade or two, the Cardinals, and that changes playing time outlook. But put Jordan Walker on that watch list. We can dream. Obviously, this season, the dream has been dashed. I mean, his OPS right now is 575 or whatever. That's terrible. You think Jackson Holliday has been disappointing. So let's keep an eye on Jordan Walker here and see what happens over the next couple of weeks with the Cardinals. The Mets are planning to recall Francisco Alvarez today, as that's what we're hearing. And I mean, yeah, duh. We talked about this before. He's gone down to the minor leagues and done exactly what this team needed to see from him. He's played 29 games in the minors. He's got 12 home runs and he's got 27 RBIs. 12-27 in 29 games, right? Strikeout rate, what is the strikeout rate? 26%. That's not great. It's certainly not bad. Double-digit walk rate, 350 on base percentage down the farm. So he'll be recalled. He should return to playing most days. That's my hope. The Mets, again, they got to get things going here. Their start of the season was terrific. Then they've fallen flat here. They're like 10-20 the last 30 games, something like that. If I learn how to count here in the morning. Really bad here the last month of time. They could use a boost, and maybe Alvarez, who was really bashing the baseball down in the minors, will return and do that. 2 catcher leagues is an immediate add if he's still out there. Even in 1 catcher leagues, depending, a lot of power on that bat. Finally, Isaac Paredes is got the hamstring strain. We heard Rubby17 talk about it, saying, oh my gosh, it could be seasonal ending. I have not seen a report suggesting that's going to be the case, but we'll continue to monitor the situation with Paredes because obviously that is a significant loss for the Astros. It's a significant loss. I'm just rolling through and seeing if there's any updates here. Significant loss for the offense. We'll be writing about that Astros offense today in Ray's Plays over at fantasyguru.com. What is this team going to do? Well, they added Shea Whitcomb and John Singleton to the Astros. They're reeling. Remember, no Alvarez, no Paredes, no Pena. Oof, that's 2, 3, 4 hitters for this team. Right? Like that's tough. Whitcomb is probably going to see some time, though. Maurice Dubon is there too. So there's no real. Basically, Pena is not expected to be out long term. Alvarez has started to do some things finally. So Pena and Alvarez should be back soon. We don't know how much time Paredes is going to miss yet. I don't think there's an answer of this guy versus that guy. Whitcomb and Dubon were probably going to be the 2 most utilized guys there at that position, taking over the spot in the lineup on a consistent basis for Paredes. So no real actionable information there in terms of the pivot, but just wanted to lay out those names. Obviously, that could change if we do indeed learn the Paredes is out long term. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the FAAB. Let's throw it up here on the screen. Every Monday, we review my leagues, not because we want to talk about me, but because it's helpful to look at who the experts in the land are picking up on the waiver wire. And so let's get into it. The LABR League, let's pull it up. The LABR League, I am in 6th place, as we've talked about. I'm not winning any leagues this year, I don't think, of these 3. But I'm in 6th place. I'm hanging in there, doing okay. As you can see there, my team, I was one of the, let me see if I can make that a little bit better. Media assets, there we go. Adrian Howard went for $3 to Baseball Prospectus. I got Adrian Del Castillo, the catcher of the Diamondbacks, for $3. Luckily, I went 3 because 2 other bids were at $2. Why did I bid on that? Because I have Gabriel Moreno, by the way. Gabriel Moreno was transferred to the 60-day injured list, so he's going to be out for a substantial period of time still. Del Castillo is a very good hitter. We saw him last season play 25 games. In his 25 games, he hit over 300 with an 893 OPS. So he's going to get a chance to play on a consistent basis now until Moreno is back. Pending how this situation plays itself out, we've heard so many guys, including Suarez, and you hear rumors about maybe McCarthy. Like, we don't know what the team is going to do. Bottom line is Adrian Del Castillo, they could trade Pavin Smith. Adrian Del Castillo could end up playing, even when Moreno is back, consistently as a catcher and a DH. So he's not a bad option at all to add right now. I would add Alvarez over Del Castillo if you're making that decision, but Del Castillo is a really good addition. That's why I added him there for that $3 price point. As you can see there, Jack Perkins went for $3, failed bid for $3 there. This is a league I should have said earlier. Sorry about that. This is a 5x5 traditional setup. The $100 FAAB spending is all you get all season long. Can't add anyone for $0, so you always have to bid $1 on a player. Perkins has been absolutely fantastic. He's got 14 strikeouts in his 12 innings, a .87 whip here. He's certainly trending in the right direction in terms of the fantasy outlook. He's potentially a Souls League addition. And there's always a chance Mason Miller gets traded and he takes over the 9th inning. We're hearing a lot of reports about Mason Miller and what are the A's going to do. Most of them seem to suggest the A's will hold on to Mason Miller. So Perkins is kind of like, let's see what we got here. Maybe let's take a chance. It's a couple of weeks. He's pitching great anyway. I don't think Mason Miller gets traded, but we'll see. Certainly sounds like Luis Severino could be traded. But then if Luis Severino gets traded, The A's are probably going to have to take some money back because if they trade their guy they gave the biggest contract to in franchise history after half a season, yeah, I don't know what the hopefully the Athletics spend once they get in Las Vegas. I don't know if they will, but we'll see. Sagano for $2 to Rudy Gamble. Sagano, very solid job this season, obviously, for the Orioles, who we were talking about earlier. We'll see with Sagano what the long-term situation is here. The whip is up to 1.3 over his last 3 starts. The ERA is 9. The toll has come for him, right? So, overall, he's been great. He's been a stabilizer. I'm not interested. I don't care who the matchup is. I'm just not interested. Again, remember, this is a 15-team league, though. So this is different than your 10 and 12s at home. Ty France for $1. Chase Maydrath for $1. Nick Lofton. I forgot to highlight Nick Lofton for me. Nick Lofton for $1. Ray, why the hell are you getting Nick Lofton? I lost Nolan Gorman. Nolan Shanuel got hit by a pitch. He's unclear what to do if he's going to continue to play. Ernie Clement, who's been very good this season, has hit 150 the last 2 weeks. I needed a guy. And so I did $1 on Nick Lofton. He'll be in my lineup here. The last 8 games, hitting 297 with an 877 OPS, driven in 7 runs. Is he the answer? No. But he does qualify in multiple positions, infield and outfield. It was $1, and I needed a guy. Again, we went through this scenario as to why that is. This league, Max Muncy, my starting third baseman on the injury list. Tristan Cass is supposed to be my starting first baseman. He's been on the injury list. So I don't have either corner infield spot. So I'm in a bit of a rough spot there. Denzel Clark for $1, Joey Wentz for $1, and Kyle Higashioka for $1. I also bid on Higashioka $1 as well. Obviously, I ended up with Del Castillo, as we talk about, but Higashioka is a gentleman who has a good amount of power. He had 17 home runs last season. And this year, 4 home runs, he's got a 673 OPS, but he's hitting 300 with an 825 OPS the last 18 games he's played. In the last 2 weeks, hitting 360. So he definitely seems to have found his stroke after that slow start to the season. He's not going to help you in the batting average category, but he can drive a baseball. His roughly last 425 at-bats, 21 home runs. So not the worst pickup in those 2 catcher leagues. Next up, the FSGA 14-team league. This is the one league I'm in where you can add players on Monday for $0. I'm in 7th place in this league. Let's pull my team up so I can talk about it. This is the team. I've also lost Gabriel Moreno in this league. So in this league, I've got Del Castillo, again, $4 in this setup. Remember, it was $3 in the 100 on the other league. It was $4 in the 1,000 in this league. So I feel really good about that addition. I'm down to like $80 for the rest of the season. Can't add guys for 0 on Monday, but that takes me out of bidding anything for anybody. So I'm really happy to get Adrian Del Castillo in this league. I'll also get back Francisco Alvarez. So all of a sudden, my catcher spot looks like a positive. A week ago, it was terrible. So that's good news there. I added Jonathan India for $7. Why? He qualifies it in the infield and the outfield. In this league, Brandon March hasn't been hitting. I picked up Parker Meadows. Parker Meadows hasn't hit here the last couple of weeks. Nolan Shanuel's on this team too, as we just discussed. Nolan Shanuel's got the injury after the hit by pitch, so his playing time's unclear. Over the last 2 weeks, we've got India playing 9 games, scoring 5 runs. Look, he's not any great shakes, but he has gotten on base. He's got a .350 on base percentage here the last couple of weeks. He's not bad, and again, this is a 14-team league. It's deep. I got injured guys. I got poor performers. I picked up Christian Moore. He got hurt. So doing the best we can to piece this together here in this league. Others added David Robertson, who we talked about earlier, for $44. So Dr. Roto, thinking maybe he gets those saves we talked about. Griffin Jacks for $24. And before you say, well, Griffin Jacks is terrible, he's certainly had moments where he was terrible this year. And he's absolutely been disappointing. He's got 20 holds. So if you're in a Solds league, he's got 20 holds. He's got 67 strikeouts in 42 innings. In his last 11 outings, his whip is 0.9. So that hiccup we had where 2 weeks he was just awful in the rearview mirror with Griffin Jacks. Angel Martinez, who we just talked about, $9 out of 1,000. Again, a very low price point, but for a guy that we discussed a few minutes ago, very solid addition at this point in time with that failed bid of $5. As you can see there, the failed bid of $3 on my Jonathan India $7 bid. Again, multi-position flexibility, and that's $1,000. Then Mauricio Dubon, who we talked about, who should see a significant short-term at least uptick in playing time, he goes for $4 to FTN Fantasy. As you can tell here, not a lot of bidding this week. I think part of that is summertime. I think part of that is All-Star break, so there weren't a lot of games and stuff going on, right? And part of that, I think, is just the nature of the week. There weren't a lot of breakthrough guys to talk about adding. This league is next up, the final one, Tout Wars. I'm in third place in Tout Wars right now, this 15-team mixed league. No $0 bids here. You have $1,000 for the course of the season. In this league, the scoring is different. It's on base percentage instead of batting average. On the pitching side of things, it's saves instead of sold instead of saves, sold instead of saves. And we don't count wins, we count innings pitched. Noah Cameron was somebody that I was very interested in this week, but ultimately I'm not going triple digits for Noah Cameron, so I didn't do it. He went for $100+ to Zach Steinhorn. Cameron is somebody that, again, I was interested because it's a 15-team league and all that. We've talked about Cameron on the show. There are concerns, obviously, about Cameron's lack of missing bats. There's concerns about the walk rate starting to come up. There's concerns about the fortune with the home run to fly ball ratio. Still has that 86% left on base percentage. That ERA he has right now of 2.3 could very easily be 4.3 the rest of the way. He's much more likely to be league average than the guy that's been a difference maker to this point for the Chiefs. Clayton Kershaw went for $78. Good addition there. Clayton Kershaw has been fine. Kershaw is not, he pitched okay yesterday. He's not Clayton Kershaw, right? But still, 3.27 ERA, 1.25 WHIP. His issue is, he doesn't go deep into games. He averages a little over 5 innings, so that hurts him a little bit in this format. But Clayton Kershaw is a fine addition, $78 there for Zach. Sousa, Scott Pianowski, giving it a go there, $5, very low bid point for him. Sousa, if I learn how to type. Why is this such a hard word to type for me? I don't know. Bennett Sousa, recalled from the minors, we'll see. He's been very effective this season. 2.29 ERA, 1.92 WHIP, well over a strikeout an inning. Again, this is a solds league. His last 10 outings, a save and 4 holds. So obviously that's why Scott's making that move. Tauchman added for $1. The concern with Tauchman, again, this is on base percentage league, so Tauchman's a good addition. I actually looked at him this week too. The problem is he's going to get traded. How much is he going to play for his new team? Is he going to play every day against righties or not? So that was the reason that obviously there was low-level excitement for him this week. Perkins for $1 by DVR. We just talked about Perkins. It's a very good addition in a Solds league. Muncy of Oakland added. Derek Van Riper's got Giancarlo Stanton. Have you seen the video of Stanton scoring from second base on that base hit over the weekend? Where literally, I am not exaggerating, literally I could go out there right now in my slippers and run faster. Good God, what happened? Is he the worst athlete in baseball? Oh my God. He can't even run. Anyway, Perkins was added. Muncy was added. Muncy's been powering the baseball, but $1, right? So even DVR is not looking at anything other than short term. Francisco Alvarez for $27 here. That's a good addition. We were just talking about how good he is, how impressive his overall game has been. Ray, why did you not bid? I've got Augustin Ramirez and Tyler Stevenson. I looked at Alvarez, but I just don't. In this league as well, when you add a player in Tout Wars, they have to go into your starting lineup. So there's no, if I add one of these guys, that means I got to bench Ramirez or Stevenson, which would in theory be fine, but you just don't want 3 catchers. We've talked about that a lot. Canzone, who we talked about last week, Dominic Canzone, $27 to Greg Jewett. Canzone, who had a really nice month. Let's pull up the numbers as we're talking about. A really nice month. Obviously, he's not a banger, but over the last 21 games, 5 home runs, and he's got a 990 OPS. So he's been very, very productive. Not going to steal a base, playing on a good amount of time though right now, and his numbers right now are very good. I think he's much more, and what did I say in an article? I think I wrote about him in one of those articles last week. I think I said something like I could dream of him being my 5th outfielder the rest of the way. So not a bad price at all, $27 by Greg Jewett. Jacob Lopez, who starts today for the Athletics, got a pretty good matchup today against Houston. With all the guys out for $1, very nice addition. And you can see there, I made a move to add Ronnie Henriquez, of the Marlins. Henriquez has, let's see here, his last 7 days, got a couple of victories, a couple of saves. He's got a couple of holds, which I had in the last 3 weeks. That's 7 appearances, 2 wins, 2 saves, 2 holds. He's got well above a strikeout in inning, 65 and 47 innings of work. The last 3 weeks, he's got that ERA of 1.29 and that whip of 0.7. So he's the guy I needed. I've got Bednar and Abreu right now. So now I have a third reliever that I can turn to set things up for. Let me make an adjustment there to set things up for the rest of the season. So there we go. That's kind of the run today. Again, pretty short, not a lot to talk about here on the show when it comes to the waiver wire for the reasons we discussed. Remember, we'll be here through Thursday. We won't be here this Friday. Next week, Justin Fensman takes over Monday through Friday. I won't be here. I'll be on my first vacation since before COVID, but I'll be with you here the rest of the week until Thursday at least. I'll also be with Jeff Manns. Actually, I'll be with you 2 of the next 3 days. Justin will be here on Wednesday. On Wednesdays, I'm with Jeff Manns on the Elite Sports Show, again at that new time, 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. I'm with Jeff on Wednesdays. I'll be there with him this week. So we'll continue to rock and roll here. Next week, Justin Fensman will host Monday through Friday. I'll be back on August 4th. When I return on August 4th, we'll have the updated rankings at fantasyguru.com go live as well. So check that out. I'm going to go and write my DFS Raise Plays article. I'll do some bets today. I'll be in Discord answering football and baseball questions, so hit me up there if you've got any questions, comments, concerns, all that kind of good stuff. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for spending a little bit of your Monday morning with me. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you again tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by fantasyguru.com. I'm Ray Flowers. Have a great start to the week. I'll see you tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Take care.